and how Jacob was reading the Torah before the Torah was even written.
Okay, he's pitting you against me.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Which is fine. You won't be the first one. You won't be the first one to do
I
that.
don't do that.
You won't be the first one to do that. And
Your
actually,
explanation was good.
Okay,
But I
so
still don't
you're
understand.
we
you're
spoke
like this.
about it last Shabbos at the Shabbat morning service. So you can give your answer, and we'll
Well, it's actually
I
not the
still don't
first.
understand
duke it out later.
It's actually not the first time that people have tried to do that, and in fact, they were successful last Sunday morning. We did the same exercise. We did it in Bris Shalom, and Ari and I, Rabbi Wolbe and I, actually ended up with a dispute in one of the questions, and we disagreed, and that's fine. And I happen to be right, but it's fine to disagree. Incidentally,
Wow, he's so wrong. It's not even funny.
anyhow, about your question. So we have the Talmud in Shabbos, Masechet Shabbos. I think it's 87b. Actually,
Prove him wrong.
pretty short. Yeah, well, check it out. 87b, and it says a very interesting, strange, odd statement. And it says that Moses went up to heaven to get the Torah. And what we know from reading that written Torah, the story, he got the Torah and came back down to us. And 40 days, whatever, after 40 days they had the sin of the golden calf. But what transpired in heaven is not actually told to us in the written Torah, but in the oral Torah, which was written down, and therefore in the Talmud and Shabbos, I would highly recommend everyone to look it up. Fascinating story. Shabbos 87b, 60% down. It says what happened when he got there, and turns out he gets up to heaven, and the angels start revolting. They say, "Who is this man, and what is he doing here?" And God tells him, "Well, he's here to get the Torah." And they say, "What? You're going to give the Torah that was written 974, I think 974 generations before the world was created? You're going to give the Torah to a man, a lowly man?"
So that's what you're saying. It was written.
Well, but you still, your question is still. I'm trying to say, where's it sourced?
Okay.
So I give you the source, right? The source, and then it goes on and God says to Moses, "Okay, fine, go convince them that you have the right to get it." And Moses goes on to convince the angels, and the angels want to burn him up. But the whole story, beautiful story. But it says that the Torah was written or created 900 and some odd generations before the world was created. So what does that mean? That's the question. What does it mean? Does it mean that the story of that
God looked at the Torah and created the world by the Torah. So the Torah was the manuscript. Or
yeah,
the
but
blueprint
Dave's question is like this. In the Torah, it says the story of Lot and his daughters. It says the story of Cain, right? So that was all written before?
No, okay.
So I'll tell you what the Ramban, Nachmanides, says in the introduction to the Torah. Nachmanides is a fascinating introduction to the Torah. I don't know if it's available translated in English. If it is, I would highly recommend everyone to look at it, where he discusses when was the Torah written, what did Moses get from it. Like Moses, we know Moses got the Torah. What did he get? He got the written Torah, the oral Torah. What did he get? He got the scrolls, the full scrolls? Really? And in the scrolls it says what happened after he got the Torah. So when was that given? All these questions he talks about. One of the things that he talks about is the nature of the Torah before the creation. Before the universe. And he says like this. He says a statement which is, unless you are accustomed to hearing such statements, doesn't make any sense to you. And being that I'm not accustomed to hearing such statements, I don't understand it either. He says the entire Torah before creation of the universe is actually a totally different Torah than what we have. It is all names of God. Names of God. For example, he gives an example, and he says that the letters were all in place, but there were different breaks in the letters, and all the letters were saying names of God. So, names of God, what does that mean? Strange. Everyone says strange. I say it's strange also. Well, I'll tell you what I do know is that there are many different names of God. Many different names of God. And we have the four-letter, the tetragram, I think it's called, or petragram, something like that. And there's a 42 letter, and there's different letter names. And the Torah, all 304,805 letters, were all different compositions of names of God. That's what it says. So it's what it means for us, for what we can understand, It doesn't mean that it was stories all written out and it was just written out before it happened. It may mean that part of that as well, but it means the Torah existed in different phases or different. It's like more of the spiritual or the theoretical of the Torah, but not actually the practical or the words on paper.
So you mean like the concepts?
Or maybe
the fundamental principles that the practice of the laws will bring us to. We're all there.
But I also think that
Not the story
what
of
he
Noah
seems
and the flood,
what
that
he
kind of
seems to
stuff.
be saying also that the letters were also there. Means he's expanding it. He's not saying just the ideas, but also the letters of the Torah. What that means, we said, it's an idea that unless you're well steeped in mysticism, you don't understand. Yes, indeed it is. But what I will tell you, one other thing is that we know that like you mentioned, the Torah was only given after the forefathers, after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But we know that they indeed kept the entire Torah. How they kept the entire Torah? Remember, they were prophets. They somehow had access to the Torah before it was given. So there is an idea of the Torah before it's given. A, we have it in the Talmud talking about 974 generations. B, we have the Ramban in the introduction to the Torah. And C, we have the Talmud telling us, or the Midrash telling us, that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all kept the entire Torah before it was written. So there is an idea which is well verified and sourced in Torah and Torah sources that there existed Torah in previous forms, different forms before the actual Torah was given. I think my brother has something to add to this point.
No.
Doesn't. Okay.
But didn't actually Moses wrote the Torah?
Oh, so you want to know what about the written? When was it written?
Like, how come he wrote the Torah and it was actually already existing?
Well, he didn't write the Torah. God told him what to write.
Okay, but that was
Remember,
accomplished after
we're
the
trying to
process.
understand this. Could we understand the idea of God not existing in time and space? God exists now as much as He existed yesterday. Remember, these are things which are hard for us to understand. So,
God doesn't have a 24-hour clock.
God doesn't have any clock. God doesn't exist in time. So God exists now as much as He existed yesterday. You yesterday, you'll never be able to get back, right? Because you're human. You were constricted to living in time and space. How do we understand that God wrote the Torah, or the Torah was the will of God? Should it exist in different forms? We don't understand it. How do you understand that the Torah, as a written document written by Moses, can be the same Torah that Moses came to get? Something we don't understand. How do we understand that the Torah, as a written document, had been accessed to previously by Abraham? It's also an idea which is not something we can understand. I said, if we're not well steeped in Kabbalah, we don't understand it. But we know that it exists. The concept exists. How does it work out practically is hard to understand. Is this on the same point? Or a new question?
I'm just related
Yeah,
to
okay.
that. I don't understand why God did not give the laws and Torah to Adam and Eve, so the world would have started properly,
That's a very good question. I think I want to break that up into.